Welcome, everybody, to the Digital Nomad Experts podcast by Beach Commute. Today, we've got Jeff and Marissa, and we are both in beaches, both in tropical locations. My first beach since the last time I was here in Puerto Escondido 5 years ago. A digital nomad starts a company named Beach Commute. My first time in 5 years coming to a beach. A proper
That
beach,
is crazy.
not a California
But also
beach.
we talked about, you've been in a California beach, you've been in a Cape
Southern Cal.
Town beach in South Africa. You've been in a lot of beaches. It's just been a while since you've been in like the
Tropical.
always barefoot, tropical, small town, like little beach town, we'll say, which is long overdue. Those are I live for those every year. So
I mean, I said it was overdue, but I didn't realize how overdue it was until I got here. You did tell me. I know.
Kept trying. Why don't we talk about it? But just to set the scene for a second here, Jeff is currently recording. If you're watching the video on Spotify, you can see out, and I see like a little hint of a palm tree leaf there.
Oh, yeah.
All the palm trees, all the trees. Jeff just gave us a little video tour. He's out on his balcony. I've heard some roosters while you were talking for a second. So, I am excited that you're back in this land. And fill us in. How's it been to be? You're in Puerto Escondido, Mexico. So fill us in. What's it been like?
Oh, man. It's like getting into a time capsule. The whole getting on a scooter to go wherever you want to go in flip-flops and a tank top. It's like, I'm going to hop on the scooter. And you drive by and see like 6 or 7 nomad friends in this little town. It's like, hey, waving by people. You see somebody in a cafe. It's just like this. It's a community thing. I haven't felt that digital nomad, like small town community thing in a long time. Probably because we've been doing just our own thing, like small groups traveling kind of thing. But this is perfect. It's just big enough where you can get your own space, and it's small enough where you can just cruise down to town in your, on your scooter and go play volleyball for like an hour, and then go grab drinks at. There's like 10 different bars and restaurants we love going to. And what's today going to be? Oh, get all excited to go to this cool new beer bar. Or, we played trivia last night with like 8 people. Nobody showed up. So we all just faced each other. And it was just great, And man, January, riding down the beach in your scooter, it doesn't get much better than that. I forgot how good this was. I mean,
Jeff, I'm gonna record that and play it back to you every December to make sure you go back to beach towns in January.
I think you're right. It is different. I'll say it's probably twice or more since last time I was here. I'd say probably about 2/3 bigger.
And you were there 2019 last?
2020. I think I got the original COVID for here. It was
yes,
right then. Right then.
I think I actually indirectly gave it to you. I was with some
you're
people
patient
the
zero.
week before.
All
and
of
where were we? Yeah, and I'm blanking on the name of it now. What's it called?
In
Puerto
Vallarta. Yeah.
There was like 20 of us in Puerto Vallarta. Me and our friend Jen, I came with it. I think I'd caught it on the way back from the Middle East in the Turkey airport is my guess. And I gave it to a bunch of people who, before we even knew COVID was like a thing that
Super
wasn't
spreader.
just in China and Italy. And then everyone from there went and met. We all split up. Half the people went to Puerto Escondido where you are, half went to Playa where I was, and all of you guys got it in Puerto Escondido. So I'm sorry. I apologize years later.
You're the original strain super host.
Yeah, it was brutal. I'm so glad. I love the smile on your face. I can feel the joy coming from you. And did you know other nomads there before you arrived, or just kind of like meeting up with the scene there?
Couple. I'd say I knew, like I just randomly ran into Jordan Hammond. Didn't even know he was here.
Oh, I could have told you.
He lives here now. Yeah.
I know full time.
I saw him at the beach, and his way over the top, hi, how you doing? Kind of thing. I'm like, I know that guy.
Why is that voice? And you've been playing volleyball, Jordan. I bet, with him. Jordan.
No, we've been playing spike ball. That's been kind of our thing.
I love spike ball.
I really don't know how to play volleyball, and like what we did in Bolivia, just kind of smacking it around a little bit. These folks here are competitive.
Jordan runs the volleyball scene there. He's so good. Yeah,
they are competitive and good. I would need to get into some super beginner stuff to even be able to get out there.
So spike ball instead.
We've been playing spike ball. Yeah, that's a blast too. So that's kind of the afternoon, and then you go to the corner store, have a beer, and then grab some food. Great day. Every day's a great day.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, if you're listening, January there.
You got to update me because you're in Santa Teresa, or you were in Santa Teresa, and last time I was there was 5 years ago.
Yeah, so you were there. That was also 2020?
That was the end of 2019.
2019.
Yeah.
So that was like 5 years ago, I suppose. Yeah, so I have been to Costa Rica a million times. I usually go to a place about 5 hours north, which I've been the first half of January, and I'll spend the rest of probably February there. But I went to visit some people in Santa Teresa, which I had never been to, and I was excited to see it because I
Mm,
know you and Diego have spent some time there. Wi-Fi Tribe used to do chapters. This was back in like 2017, 18,
mhm.
19. I feel like it was a hot spot for digital nomads, and I was so curious to see it because we never hear of people going there anymore. And I was curious 'cause I know it's, like, think about it. Can you
Yeah.
think of anybody who's most nomads don't go to Costa Rica
Mm,
anymore. Some people still
yeah.
will 'cause, the cost of living, which I'll talk about.
Mm,
But even within that, I almost never see people going to Santa Teresa anymore, and I was
hmm,
like, "What the hell? Like, why
interesting.
why is no one going there?" I was really curious, and I assumed it was just a cost of living thing, which I think it mostly is. But the weirdest thing, so I think it's changed a lot in the last year. So it started, how Diego always talks about nomad towns. They start as little surf towns, and
Yep.
then the kind of nomads come, and then like
Backpackers.
the other people, the backpackers come, and
Yeah.
then the nomads, and then other people take over. But this is interesting because it's still very much a surf town, which I've been surfing. I surfed for like a full week. I've never been a surfer, and I'm
Mhm.
obsessed. I loved it.
Hmm.
That was really fun, but almost the whole crowd there, you arrive, it's a really dusty, do you remember, like, the it's, like, one dirt road that you always
Oh, yeah.
talked about where
People with
everyone rides
ATVs bombing
quads?
down it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the ATVs. It is so
Mhm.
crowded. I know I was with people there who had been there a lot over the past, like, 3, 4 years, and they were like, "It is so crowded here, there's so
Hmm.
many people, it feels so different." It feels like an apocalypse almost, like, with all the dust in the road because there's so many people and it's so
Mad
crowded and
Max.
the smells and the gasoline. I was like, this is too
Oh.
much. The beach, but then I was curious. It's still beautiful when you're like on the beach and in the jungle. And at
Yeah.
sunset, it's like thousands of people that are all digital nomad type people and ages
Hmm.
and just the kind of vibe of digital nomads. But when you go to all the cafes and you drive by, like nobody's on their laptop. Everyone I met was
Huh.
there kind of like half the year or a couple months of the year or just more visiting for a few months. And it seems like everyone there has very like in-person jobs, like people there are doing service work or they've started a business there or they're like a DJ there. It's all people who are working physical in-person jobs
Yeah.
there and not or just kind of surf bombing or just kind of took a break from work and are there for 2 months finding themselves again. But it's a very sceney place. Like it's like the model, the clothes, the gorgeous people everywhere, but like no
Yeah.
one's working digitally. So I was like, these aren't my people. I don't know, it was very bizarre, but I was really glad to see it and get a feel for it because it's poppin'. Like it is so crowded, but
Huh.
it's almost overcrowded in a way.
Yeah. Yeah. That doesn't surprise me at all. When I was there, that street annoyed the hell out of me. Just
Yeah, it's rough.
you just hear these just constant hum of ATVs flying by and dust
Yeah,
everywhere. It's like that was just
everywhere.
so freaking annoying.
Yeah, so it's interesting. People are still flocking to it, but we stayed in a little place actually
Yeah.
called Malpais, which is like the
Yeah.
next town over, basically. So it's still
Yeah.
super close. You can pop in
That's
and
a little
surf and
quieter.
go to the
Yeah.
restaurants and do all the things, but it was way quieter there, which I really
Hmm.
enjoyed. So
I like
that's
that
my
side.
Santa Teresa overview. But
Mhm.
I loved being a surfer for a week. I was like, there's definitely something to this. I get it, and I
Yeah.
loved that. So still a win for Costa Rica.
Okay. Are you back where you were before?
Yes. Yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
back to Las Catalinas, and
Back
I
to
was so happy to
safe.
be back in
Back to
like my
safety.
quiet town where I know everybody walking down the
Hmm.
street, and yeah, it's nice. So
Yeah.
there
Nice.
we go. It's our updates from our little beach towns in January. I guess when you listen to this, it'll be February, but it's the last day of January as we are recording.
Oh
So
my
with
god.
that, Jeff, I don't even know if we mentioned the topic we were talking about. It'll be in the title while you clicked here, but fill us in. What's the we had a lot of updates to give you on our travels because we don't travel like Jeff and I are traveling slower. We're not as often in new places anymore, so it's fun to kind of give you guys the lay of the land. We've had some people write in and tell us that you like these intros, so if you like them, let us know,
Hmm.
and we keep bringing them to you. But other than that, yeah. So Jeff, give us the title, the topic. What are we covering today?
I haven't even gotten there yet. Okay. Uh, thought I shouted out. Okay, so we're going to talk
We
about
may hard
the
to say.
6 red flags that you should avoid when you apply to remote jobs. So we're going to be talking about things that we've seen hundreds of times in careers pages, in job listings that we've had to send back and forth to each other saying, do you understand what the hell they're saying? Is this remote? Is this not remote? Does this work from anywhere? Is this intentionally ambiguous? And sometimes the answer is just like, I don't know, delete it. Because it's just
Yeah.
so confusing. And I'd say just even of the remote companies, we are putting that in quotations. even of those, I only say a small fraction of those are work from anywhere companies. And when I
For
mean
sure.
work from anywhere, that's quite literally the definition. It means they'll hire you anywhere and they'll let you work from anywhere. And these companies are the really, really rare ones. You still see maybe fewer and fewer, but you still see a lot of remote companies. That can mean so many different things. So we're going to go through some of the things that we see and that you're going to see in job listings, careers pages that might look like a green flag, green light, but you need to dig a little deeper. We're going to explain why you need to dig a little bit deeper into some of these. Marissa, do you want to add
Perfect.
anything to that?
No, I think that's great. Yeah, and as Jeff is talking about when we delete companies, we have all the work from anywhere companies that we found. We'll talk about this throughout the episode. You can find at beachcommute.com/atlas on what we call our anywhere atlas, which is the companies we've worked very, very hard to go through and find and filter from the quote remote companies to the companies that actually really let you work from anywhere. And so we'll talk about like as we found these companies, as we built this out, as we looked through, Jeff and I went through like thousands of hours, literally back and forth sometimes, as you said, like, this says they're work from anywhere, but I don't it's not like and what we look out for as we did it, so that if if you go to the Anywhere Atlas, you should be able to find all fully remote companies that do let you work from anywhere. Every now and then there's little caveats, but for the most part, it's there. But if you find other jobs on your own or what to look out for as you're talking to companies, if you're wanting to travel as a digital nomad and work remotely from Puerto Escondido, Mexico, or Costa Rica or anywhere in the world you want to be, we want to make sure that you are filled in on what you should be looking out for that seemingly lets you work remote, but doesn't actually. So that's what we're covering here
Hmm.
today. You want to kick
Okay.
it off with number one?
Yeah, let's go to the first one. The first thing to look out for are remote company websites. Like everything checks out on the careers page. It says we're fully remote, we work from anywhere, all that kind of good language. And then you go into a job listing, and that job listing has somewhere highlighted on it, this is an in-person job, this is a hybrid job, or this requires part travel, what fill in the blank, right? It doesn't align with what they were talking about on their careers page. So we actually just ran into this the other day. Perfect looking website, like everything checked out. It was all the boxes ticked. And then you go and click into this one, and it looked like they'd copied paste a line in there because all of their job listings were the same, except for this one that said, you have to come into the office. Oh my God, it's just so many little details. So I guess the takeaway from that one is we're going to get into looking at careers pages and the things that you need to look for with that for sure to pass the first test. But as you're applying to jobs, you have to make sure you look through the entire job listing because there could be something goofy in that where they are technically a remote company, but they might have some on location roles. So this is not a company I wouldn't say is like, it might be 99% work from anywhere and the job listings are work from anywhere. But occasionally there might be one where it's like, you have to do IT stuff in the warehouse or something like that, and it's just it's a little tricky, but we've run into that quite a bit. And sometimes they're very, very sneaky.
Oh, so sneaky. I want to read this one because it actually is a company
We have
that's
it.
on the
Yeah.
Anywhere Atlas, and we have sent out like hundreds of roles from this company that mostly are work from anywhere, and it's a very remote anywhere type of company. So on the very header, like the top, the first thing you will read on the top of this role, I wrote it down. It said, "Work from anywhere, impact everywhere." So as a company, this is like what they're going for. But then it's just that when you scrolled probably like 75% down the way, it says this position is office based. And it's like, "What?
Hmm.
What the hell? Why did you say it on the top?" And so as Jeff said, it's probably copy and pasted, like, they have the same intro on all of their jobs, and this mostly work from everywhere, but then this one job, but maybe it was I can't remember even what the exact role was, but maybe it was, like, an administrative role that was assistant to someone in an office that you needed to
Hmm.
be I forget what country it was. It was I don't remember, it wasn't the US, but I wanna say it was like Poland or something. I can't even remember, but
Yeah.
regardless, do check out for that because even remote from anywhere companies where 99.9% of roles are from that, every now and then you'll get these sneaky little, as Jeff said, could be like a warehouse or an in-person or you're mailing things out for who knows, but this particular role was in person. So do watch out for that.
Okay. Next one on the list is geography restrictions. So this, I would say, gets even trickier. So, and again, with this one, I'm going to talk about job listings because this is typically where we see this. Again, going through the timeline, you're looking through these companies in the atlas. This atlas says, okay, work from anywhere company, and then you get into the job listings, and it'll have a location attached to the job listing. It'll say something like marketing manager, parentheses, San Francisco, or something like that. And you're like, well, what does that mean? Or it'll say remote dash San Francisco. Like, what does that? What does that even mean? So, one of a few different scenarios could be happening with these that you need to dig into a little further. Some companies have specific geographies that they're only able to hire from. So I've seen some of these companies where they will actually only hire citizens of the countries where they're incorporated. I don't know if that's, maybe you've got some insight into that. Is it like a tax thing?
For sure. Yeah.
It is a tax thing. Okay.
Yeah.
So some companies do that. Some companies don't do that. I think the true companies that let you hire from anywhere or will hire you from anywhere, I think for the most part, they just 1099 contract. I don't want to get too deep into the weeds.
Yeah, there's two options. It's that or there's also, we haven't talked too much about this, but I think it's just helpful to understand as you're saying it. There are these third-party companies, and several of them are actually listed in the Anywhere Atlas as remote companies, which makes sense. But it's basically like that third-party company hires like the employees, and then that company pays the in-between person.
Oh.
So it's like they so anyway, you don't need to know too much, but that's how they let you work from anywhere versus like the more traditional companies who are still like normal W2 payrolls or whatever that looks like in any country, and they're just hiring people. Like you can work from anywhere as long as you don't stay too long in one place or like become a resident or overstay your travel visa, but you're a resident of the country that they pay taxes in. So that's why a lot of the companies you'll find you have to be a citizen of that country. But the really true work from anywhere companies now have workarounds that the more traditional ones haven't gotten to yet.
Right. Okay. That's really interesting to know that they've got companies that specialize in that, and that's cool. Yeah, so that's the first thing that we see. And a lot of times, to the company's credit, when they do that, for a good example would be Wikimedia. They say that we are able to hire in I think it's like 77 countries or something like that. So you can be a citizen of any of these, and they've only got the ones that they can't hire in actually listed there. So they're very, very transparent about it. Some not so much. You'll run into some and be like, hey, we can only hire in the countries where we're incorporated. Oh, where are you incorporated? It's usually just US, UK, that kind of thing. So keep an eye out for those things. There is another geographical restriction that we run into, and that's time zones. So the companies don't necessarily care where or actually like where you're from, more as that you have availability during some working hours that they want to operate in. So a good example would be we work East Coast Northern American hours, right? So we need you to either, sometimes you'll see companies say, be living within that time zone. It'd be like plus or minus 3 hours. Sometimes they say exactly what they want. Or even better, just work the hours wherever you're at.
Like they say, like, be available. You must be available to work like Eastern US hours or something like that.
Exactly like that. Yeah, exactly. So that means if, you're in Bali, it means you're working nights. And that's fine because it's your choice. But it's really good to have that kind of transparency. I like that better than we're only going to hire you if you're geographically situated within these particular time zones, which is just a step in the right direction for a lot of people who want to become digital nomads because, hey, if that's
you did that
the
to
case,
start with for a lot of years.
I did, yeah, for the first 2 years. And I mean, that gives you a lot of ground to work with. Say you're in North America, you've got just about all of Latin America that you can go to, which is awesome. But when you start wanting to branch out a little bit, then you're probably going to have to negotiate. And I would say, like, a lot of cases in those companies are like, hey, we need you in a certain time zone. I think if you prove that you can do it like I did, down the road, you can just say, all right, I'm going off to these places. I'll be available in your time zone. If you establish some trust. I think the companies just don't want to do it right off the bat initially because they're probably concerned whether or not you can actually do the right.
Work at 11 p.m.
They don't have as
every
much
night,
control.
like you say you're going to.
Yeah, they just don't have as much control, and they're a little, lacking in trust maybe right off the bat.
Yeah, I love that. So that's number 2 is to look out for some of those geography restrictions. number 3, I want to jump right into. It's almost the opposite, and this is actually looking out for geography stuff that seems more limited than it is, but can actually be
Mm.
good. So it's like a red flag because they often explain it wrong on job listings, but it turns out to be in your favor. So what will happen is Jeff said a lot of job listing sites that companies list through require just because it's a little outdated to have a physical or like to have a physical location or one location. Some job boards and listings are better that just say like anywhere. You can, anywhere in the world or a certain place. But a lot of listings that we know from companies who we know all their listings or almost all their listings are fully remote, work from anywhere. They have all the right verbiage and promote it. But when you look on the job roles, it will say like the title of it will say, marketing manager, parentheses, San Francisco or parentheses US for something. But then when you look into the role, many times throughout that listing, it will truly say like work from anywhere. We're happy to let you work from anywhere. Everyone's working from all over the world. We've got people working from 75 different countries. And you're like, wait, what? Like this company, I see it says San Francisco. Like what's happening?
Mhm.
So that can be a little confusing. And I feel like even Jeff and I, as we look at them, we really double check and we go back to the careers pages and we say like, do they really let everyone work from remote? Like what's going on here? So for those roles, just it's sort of the opposite of we said in number 1, but and number 2, but you can work from anywhere, but you might just avoid it to begin with because you look at the title and it seems like
Yeah.
it has a location, but it doesn't. So yeah, be mindful when you check out the atlas. And again, go to beachcommute.com/atlas to view like over 300 of these companies that do let you work from anywhere for the most part. You will find sometimes that you're like, why this company is like they've got a high score on the Atlas. They really let you
Mhm.
work remote, but these job listings all have a location in the US or Poland or wherever it is. Like, what's going on? So be mindful. It's a kind of a red flag of the labeling, but it's a green flag that they actually do let you work from anywhere. So it's the wild west of confusing world out there, and we're doing our best to help you
Mhm.
navigate it through through the Atlas.
Yeah, there's no accepted, like,
Oh, it's rough.
structure
It's
or
rough out there.
yeah, it really is. It really is the Wild Wild West because, people there's no, like, understood language at this point, and we're all just kind of trying to piece together what these companies are saying, what their
Yeah.
intentions are, and I think half the
Yes.
time, they're not quite sure what their intentions are, is what I'm
Right.
guessing. Some of them, they're like, "Well, we know we have to do remote, but we're not exactly sure what that means, so we're just gonna
Yeah.
put up everything." It's like, "Oh, well,
Yeah.
it's not
And
very
I
helpful."
will say, I really do believe at this moment of recording that the Anywhere Atlas is truly the only resource out there that has removed and filtered for all of the other quote remote roles. So there's a couple other companies you'll find or job boards that are like, here's remote roles this or remote roles that. And someone actually wrote into Jeff the other day on LinkedIn. He shared this with me, but they were like, no one else is doing this like you guys are. Like there's a lot of other and for this reason, you have to really manually go in and see like what the hell is this company talk about? Because if you just go by the listing, if you're just looking for quote remote roles, it's remote work from home, remote from a certain company, remote with these restrictions. But we have gone in to really be like, what companies are letting you work from anywhere and truly, are promoting this lifestyle for you. So it's
Mhm.
again, it is the Wild West, even when you know what you're looking for. But hopefully this will help you to really identify it all.
And anytime if you're in the Atlas, if you run into one of these companies where it's like 90% of the job listings are work from anywhere, and then there's like some weird hybrid ones that we found, we put it in the notes. So it is a work from anywhere company with an asterisk. Like just keep an eye out. These are not,
Every now and then
you
there's a few
don't want to
roles.
remove these companies because they are work from anywhere opportunities all over them, but just be aware. And anytime we find that, we put it in the notes. So you should
Yeah.
just read these each thoroughly.
Perfect.
Okay,
4.
some language stuff to look out for. That usually is a bit of a red flag, maybe a yellow flag for me. And the two things that I usually see are remote first or remote friendly. Remote friendly worries me a little bit more. I don't know exactly why. I feel like remote friendly means we're not really a remote company, but we'll make exceptions for you. That's kind of the
Yeah, it
take
kinda
that I
reminds
get
me
from it.
instead of, like, your family members, it's like we have some acquaintances that are like,
Yeah.
we kind of we dabble in remote, but, like, not really.
Yeah, it's not really core to our structure. And then remote first, like, okay, so what is second? Is it like hybrid? So some are remote. Remote we're first remote. I would want to see remote
Remote
only.
only, yeah.
Yeah. It's like
It's
remote
funny because I feel
first.
like
Based on
years
first on
ago
what?
when we first started this podcast even, I feel like we used to talk to Diego a lot and be like, remote first was like the gold standard
Yeah.
way back when. It was like companies that were remote first, that was different. And it usually
Hmm.
meant just kind of maybe they didn't have an office, but it was still remote US, or like you said, remote first, but like there's offices if you want to go in. And sometimes we might make you go. I don't know. But like
Hmm.
Jeff said, it's like what's second and third. So you really want to work for like remote only, work from anywhere. But remote first used to be the good thing to say, but now it's a little questionable.
Yeah, yeah, it's like actually a lot questionable. I'd say most of the times when I click into remote first, I read something. It's like, yeah, it's more of an advertising gimmick to get more candidates in the door, but they don't really fit.
I would say the
Don't love it.
majority of those are, like, remote work from home companies,
I think so.
and sometimes,
Yeah.
like, you have to come into an office 2 days a week or something, so it's, like, remote
Hmm.
first, like, be in your home 3 days a week, but only be in your home and come into an office 2 days, and
Yeah.
or, like, you might have to come in sometimes, or, like, you cannot leave the country, you can only work remote from home. Those to me are what remote first are
Hmm.
saying now.
We did. You know what? We didn't even talk about that huge chunk of companies that we just write off that are work from home companies. They're
Yeah.
called remote, but they're work from home companies. That's very,
Yeah.
very different thing.
Yeah, and that's
And
what I was
those
trying
don't
to say,
even
like,
make it in the
there's
list at
so
all.
many like, if you Googled remote job boards, you'll find, like, 500 of
Hmm.
them, but, like, 99% of those 99.99% of those roles are remote from home,
Yeah.
remote from your place. You cannot leave your country's borders, you can't really
Hmm.
travel, like, you gotta be and you keep your butt in your chair, in your desk, in your home, wherever you live.
It makes me think of some of the other. I just thought of another red flag. It's like when you're reading a careers page, and they say work where it's
Where it's,
most
like, most
comfortable for
comfortable
you in
in your
in the
home.
office or at your home office. It's like, all
Most
right,
comfortable, I wanna be at a beach every other month, switching
yeah,
countries.
right, home office. They're clearly saying you have flexibility, and they're like really subliminally saying, but only at home.
Sometimes they do straight up say, "You're very right." I've seen so many job listings of companies that it's like, you're excited
Hmm.
at first, "It's a cool company, I wanna add it to the Atlas," and then as Jeff said, it's like, yeah, work where you're most comfortable, in your pajamas, in your home, but you
Yeah,
cannot travel, so do look
exactly.
out for that.
Okay, so do you want to take us to the last? We're on the last one now,
We got
or the
2
second
more. We
last
got
one?
a
Two
5
more.
5 and 6. So, I'll take number 5, which is not having a careers page at all. I feel like you might have even more to say about this, Jeff, but if you look at a company and they just house, like, a job listing and no careers page on their website, 1, it's could very well just be a scam in general. This
Hmm.
actually does happen surprisingly a lot. But 2, where we find the most information of the companies that really support you in living nomadically or working from anywhere or living elsewhere for a year or whatever you want to be doing, companies generally have careers pages and they're very upfront about it. It's rare to find. That's why we have the Anywhere Atlas. But if you scroll through the Atlas and you look at some of the quotes that we send out in our emails, which if you're not in our email list, by the way, go to beachcommute.com/email. We send out lots of job listings every day for these types of remote companies, and we love to share quotes sometimes because they'll literally say like, "Work from anywhere as long work from the moon if you're happy, as long as you have
Hmm.
Wi-Fi." Or they're really great quotes, and they come from these career pages that really tout just like what the company stands for as a whole. So if you're not seeing that and it just says like you see a cool job listing and it's like remote, be careful, don't get too excited. Try to check the company's careers page to see that they're really supporting this, or check the atlas and the score and the quotes that we have and everything because you'll find it there on beachcommute.com/atlas.
Hmm. Yeah, some of these companies, very, very rare if they make it into the Atlas. They will only make it in the Atlas if they've got really good job listings that say work from anywhere. But for the most part, you're only going to find companies with careers pages. And the reason for that is because a careers page sends a lot of signals to job seekers about what it's like to work there. A good careers page should be super employee focused. Should talk about what they have to offer you and market to you, as opposed to giving you a laundry list of things they expect of this no named person that's not even a real, that's just landed on the page. They should include the perks, the benefits, their exact remote policy if they have one. Ideally, you'd have some quotes from employees, links to their Glassdoor page, all that kind of stuff. So when you see nothing but job listings, it worries me. But I would say that I don't hate it because in some instances, it's just a very small company. Like it could be 10 people at the company and they just haven't put one up yet. They're just not big enough. They don't have the
Yeah.
resources. Doesn't mean it's a bad company to work for. It just means they're not quite there yet. But, worth keeping your eye out if you see like a 200-person company, no careers page. Read some reviews online before you proceed.
Yeah, I love that. And then lastly, that really ties into that is if on their careers page, we mentioned this, they don't explicitly talk about excitedly working from anywhere, work from any country. We have people all over the world, like travel anywhere you want, work from a beach or a mountain, like you'll find that type of language. If it doesn't say it on the careers page, then be mindful. And lastly, I would say is like if you're looking for these types of companies, on the Anywhere Atlas, you can sort by from like we have gone in and rated manually every single company based on all the stuff that we're talking about and more, as well as like perks and other things. So if you go to the Atlas and you sort from the highest rated to the top down to the bottom, you'll see a huge difference in the ratings and within the 300s of companies because some like shout it from the rooftop. They're very clear about their policies, and those are going to have the highest scores down to some of the lower scores where like it's just mentioned. It's not really big. Sometimes we're like, we're pretty, they must be because they're saying this, but it's not really like shouted from the rooftops elsewhere. And those you're going to find lower scores. Maybe they don't have as good perks or company reviews, but they're still there and they're still work from anywhere. So we don't want to exclude them. But you can get a really good feel like that work is already done for you. Of the ones at the top are going to be the more excitedly work from anywhere companies.
That's it for me. Anything else?
No, that's everything. So again, make sure to hop on our email list. If you haven't already done so, we're always so grateful if you can leave a 5-star review, the stars, the thumbs up, the subscribe, whatever that looks like for you. Really helps more people to find the podcast and for us to keep going and bringing you these awesome resources to help you find a remote job. So it takes 5 seconds. If you want to open your phone, click those stars wherever you're listening right now. And other than that, we hope this is helpful. We're super excited for you to find a remote job and start your travel soon. And we will see you next episode next week.
Thanks. See you next week.